example of people that puppet masters trying to control the narrative.
It now appears if she wants to run for supervisor again, it will happen.
The self-proclaimed super mayor of Dalton, Illinois, has dramatically changed her trajectory as her once dominant political empire begins to disintegrate more swiftly than expected due to accusations of lavish spending and questionable leadership decisions. The rate at which her career collapsed was unforeseen and has even shocked her most loyal supporters, who are desperately holding on as this political roller coaster nears its inevitable conclusion.
Meeting wrapped up early because two trustees, as you mentioned, did not show up. Chris Gonzalez and Carmen Carlisle. Without them, not enough board members were present to make official.
For the first time in decades, Thornton Township opted to select its nominees through a caucus rather than the traditional primary election process, and the political stakes could not have been higher. At the center of this dramatic change was Mayor Tiffany Henyard, who also serves as the Township Supervisor of Thornton and hoped to secure a place on the ballot for the upcoming 2024 election. However, the evening at the Homewood Flossmoor Park District Auditorium did not unfold in her favor, as a procedural error disqualified her, delivering what many consider the biggest loss of her career. The caucus, headed by Illinois State Senator Napoleon Harris, who serves as the chair of the Democratic Committee in Thornton Township, attracted hundreds of locals eager to witness the political drama despite the cold weather. Supporters and skeptics of both candidates crowded the venue, knowing that the gathering could reshape the political landscape. When the results were revealed, the atmosphere was electrified. Harris secured the Democratic nomination, and the announcement by the township supervisor, ousting Henyard from the contest, was greeted with applause and particularly exuberant cheers. The event felt more like a prize fight than a routine political gathering. Many described it as a political mic drop moment, with Harris walking away victorious while Henyard steeps in defeat. In a post-event statement, Henyard accused Harris and the Democratic Committee of conspiring to block her candidacy, denouncing the caucus as a coordinated effort to undermine her. While her accusations sparked heated discussions, critics viewed her claims as the desperate outcry of a politician besieged by scandals during her tenure as mayor and supervisor. Despite being an uncommon approach for Thornton Township, proponents of the caucus argued that it adhered to legal standards and aligned with processes in other Illinois towns. Residents and political observers are now left speculating about the future of the two central figures in this intense political conflict. The decision not only underscored the stakes, but also signaled a significant shift in local politics.
The caucus works right here in Thornton Township. You should also say that she flunked out because her name is not.
In a dramatic turn of events showcasing defiance and divisiveness, Tiffany Henyard stormed out of the Homewood Flossmoor Park District Auditorium alongside some of her most devoted supporters. Her voice pierced the tense atmosphere as she hurled accusations of corruption and misconduct, directly targeting State Senator Napoleon Harris, whom she accused of orchestrating an unfair and illegal process. She declared loudly, "You did not run any of this the right way, legally." Refusing to back down, her outburst was more than an expression of frustration. It was a declaration of defiance against the circumstances that have tarnished her political legacy. Henyard's removal from the Democratic ballot was a public and symbolic defeat that highlighted her increasingly fragile grip on power. The chaotic but decisive caucus vote effectively ended her run as the Democratic nominee for Thornton Township supervisor. For Henyard, the loss was more than a procedural setback. It was a deeply humiliating moment witnessed by constituents and political rivals alike, solidifying her reputation as one of the most polarizing figures in Illinois politics. As she exited the venue, her supporters rallied around her, echoing accusations of voter suppression and abrupt rule changes they claimed were designed to disqualify her. According to her camp, procedural shifts and capacity restrictions at the venue prevented many of her elderly and frail supporters from participating. However, Harris and the caucus organizers, supported by their legal team, denied these allegations, asserting that the caucus was lawful and adhered to Illinois regulations. Henyard's defeat raised the possibility that she might make a last-minute decision to run as an independent or even as a right-leaning candidate. While such a move demonstrated her determination, it also risked further dividing her already fractured base. Her political career, once marked by a mix of controversy and resilience, now seemed on the brink of collapse. For her supporters, the caucus represented a political ambush, while critics saw it as a necessary turning point in addressing her mismanagement and self-serving governance.
Minutes. That's all it took for Tiffany Henyard to come out as the Democratic nominee for Thornton Township supervisor, and she left here
To completely understand Tiffany Henyard's dramatic fall from grace, one must take into account her rapid ascent to fame and the carefully crafted image that once positioned her as a rising star in local politics. Initially hailed as a visionary leader, she successfully secured dual roles as mayor of Dalton and supervisor of Thoron Township, a rare combination of power that elevated her status and solidified her as a figure of immense influence. This dual authority not only bolstered her reputation, but also brought increased scrutiny, eventually revealing flaws in her meticulously maintained facade. Among the most damning accusations was the discovery of extravagant spending, including an astounding $33,000 charged to Amazon for community purposes. For Dalton residents, many of whom have median incomes well below $50,000, the contrast between Henyard's apparent wealth and their financial struggles was stark. This revelation caused widespread discontent among constituents who had trusted her to serve their best interests. The community's indignation grew as information about Henyard's spending patterns surfaced, revealing what many perceived as egregious negligence and a detachment from her constituents' concerns. One Dalton resident expressed the growing resentment among her electorate, saying, "It's disgusting that she's living like a queen while we can barely get by." The accusations painted a picture of a leader living a lavish lifestyle while ignoring the urgent needs of her community. These feelings of betrayal fueled a groundswell of disillusionment, sparking calls for accountability and driving Henyard's political downfall. As scrutiny increased, the accusations of misconduct not only damaged her reputation, but also served as a stark reminder of how far her leadership had strayed from the ideals she had professed. Her financial decisions became emblematic of deeper hypocrisy, highlighting the glaring disparity between her promises of service and the self-serving reality that residents perceived in her leadership. The contrast between her public persona and her apparent private priorities caused even her most ardent supporters to lose faith in her administration. What had once been a shining example of a champion for the people, a leader praised for her promises of integrity, transparency, and professionalism, was now replaced by a narrative of greed and mismanagement. For many, a turning point in Henyard's political career was the disclosure of her purported financial mismanagement. This revelation caused her base of support to erode and sparked a sharp change in public sentiment among those who had previously viewed her as a beacon of hope for change. Her story now serves as a cautionary tale, a warning against unbridled ambition and self-interest. Tiffany Henyard's fall highlights the growing gap between the leader she claimed to be and the reality faced by the typical Dalton resident. Critics painted her demise as inevitable, with the foundations of her political career collapsing under the weight of scandal and choices that prioritized personal comfort over community welfare. The accusations against Henyard not only overshadowed her accomplishments, but also solidified her legacy as one marred by controversy and lost potential. Her failure to address the needs and concerns of her community, while engaging in behavior perceived as extravagant and out of touch, deepened the rift between her administration and the people it was meant to serve. Her political demise reverberated far beyond her immediate sphere of influence, serving as a warning that the pursuit of power unchecked by accountability can alienate and betray those one seeks to lead. For Dalton locals, the fallout has left them feeling frustrated and disillusioned, exacerbated by unnecessary and politically motivated infighting. This discord has significantly impeded the community's ability to receive effective services. Residents have been vocal about the negative impact of these disputes on their daily lives, as essential projects remain delayed and basic services are compromised. The focus has shifted away from addressing pressing community needs, with political battles taking precedence. The accusations against Henyard became a rallying point for change, reinforcing calls for leadership rooted in humility. Whether Henyard, the Democratic candidate for the position of supervisor of Thoron Township, genuinely serves the interests of the people she represents, or is motivated by power struggles and personal ambitions, remains a divisive question. The matter reached a climax when Henyard abruptly left the campaign after just 7 minutes at the Blackstone Park renovation project, a move that underscored the high financial stakes of this ongoing conflict. This conflict could have dire consequences, including the potential for a hefty $40,000 fine if deadlines for necessary permits are missed or approvals are not received. The bigger concern is that taxpayers may be forced to repay funds already allotted for the project. Beyond political scheming, these issues highlight the lost opportunities brought about by internal strife and poor leadership. According to Stephanie Weedman, the Park District's executive director, residents risk losing access to better parks and safe spaces for their families if the grants and permits expire. The confrontational and domineering leadership style of the Park District has only deepened divisions in the community, increasing risks and impeding progress on critical projects. Henyard's inner circle, once unwavering in its support, is now starting to fragment, with longtime allies reportedly drifting away and employee resignations fueling speculation of escalating internal strife. Even though Henyard has not been charged, an ongoing FBI investigation into her administration remains one of the most damaging blows to her political authority. Reports of alleged malfeasance have further undermined public confidence. The investigation's very existence has cast a shadow over her tenure. In response to mounting criticism, Henyard has accused her detractors of waging a smear campaign. In a fiery Facebook video, she aggressively questioned why she is receiving so much attention and what others might be trying to distract the public from. Meanwhile, her political opponents have used the indictment of one of her closest allies, a former deputy police officer facing allegations of bankruptcy fraud, to amplify claims of corruption within her administration. Her public attempts to counter these narratives have largely backfired. Critics accuse her of desperation, labeling her outreach efforts as disingenuous and disconnected from the community's real needs. As crucial projects remain stalled and delays mount, her previously stable political power is rapidly eroding. The ongoing controversies have demonstrated that Henyard's leadership is under siege from both internal and external challenges. With grant funding at risk of expiring and community projects failing, the deeper implications of Henyard's leadership extend far beyond politics. Her aggressive, domineering style has alienated many, deepening the perception that her administration is out of touch with the needs of those it is supposed to serve. Sadly, the fractures within her inner circle, coupled with whispers of staff discontent, make it increasingly difficult to ignore the cracks in her leadership.